wonder if you feel you make the most of the time you have in developing a close, satisfying relationship with your child. And how do you get close to a dissatisfied child or a child that's acting out? I want you to meet Dr. Martha Welch. She has a fascinating approach to making the time that we spend with our children really count. She is a child development psychiatrist. Good morning to you, Martha.
Good morning, Eileen.
I said to you just a moment ago, you must have a great deal of patience to work with autistic children.
In my own mothering, I'm not a patient person, but holding time gives the mother patience.
How?
When you hold your child, you get into such close contact that you have much more understanding and much more empathy for your child. And so when the child acts up, instead of blowing your stack, you realize that it's a symptom of attachment strain between you two, and then you know how to pull them back. After you do it on a daily basis, you can just grab your child, sit him down, give him a hug, and it stirs up the whole resolution that you would have from a whole holding time.
It's interesting because we think of very, very young children as needing us. I think we do, almost more than the toddler or the child that is acting so independently. Do we forget that our child needs us for a very long time?
All the way through development, a child needs this kind of holding. You see, stress reduction is the responsibility of the mother with an infant. If a child is crying and nothing's wrong, you hold the child until the child calms down. Then the child learns that comfort comes from contact. Now, we forget that that same principle applies all throughout development, and in fact, in adulthood. When you're upset, don't you like your husband to calm you down?
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, you like being touched or told
Absolutely.
you're all right, or all those things.
Yes,
sure.
And children need that. And mothers forget that they're supposed to be delivering, or that they're allowed to. A lot of mothers would like more contact, but they think they're supposed to let their children go.
Because when you have a child that is in the middle of the temper tantrum, you don't think about your technique. Explain it to us.
Well, you will after this.
Okay.
Because if you never use holding time for any other thing, you should use it for temper tantrums. What is going on with a temper tantrum? Your child is out of control, hurting, angry, upset. And you just gather the child up in your arms and hold on no matter what the child says, no matter how much the child tries to get away. You hold on, you tell the child that you will hold on all through the anger, that they're safe in your arms, that you love them no matter what they're feeling. And if you just let them rage in your arms in the safety of your love, they calm down and they melt into your body and snuggle into you just the way they did when they were infants, breastfeeding or taking a bottle.
Eye contact?
Oh, absolutely. Then after the angry period, you get the most wonderful eye contact. And usually a child, even an older child, say a 10-year-old, will start to explore the mother's face just like a little baby and look straight into your eyes. And it's just a very wonderful feeling. It makes the mother feel so good about herself, about her mothering, and it makes the child feel good. Let me give you an example. A little 2-year-old was being held because she wouldn't look at her mother when her mother came home from work. She was very angry about being left. And they went through maybe 45 minutes of struggle. And then the child hugged the mother, and the mother was so happy. And she looked in her eyes and she said, "Mommy, happy." And then she said, "You beautiful." And then even more importantly, she said, "Emily, beautiful. Emily and Mommy beautiful, Emily and Daddy beautiful."
We're talking about self-esteem here, aren't we?
Yes,
we
absolutely.
Make the child feel full and whole.
Yes, acceptable.
Let's take a call, Martha. Good morning. You're on Good Day.
Hi, my name is Robin from Lynn.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, I have a 2.5-year-old daughter, and she throws terrible temper tantrums. I mean, unbelievable. And I do the calm down technique, but she doesn't seem to calm down. But I've resorted to isolating her in her room when out in the home. But what do I do when we're in public in the mall? Because many times I've had to leave the store, literally leave everything and just walk out.
That's a very good point, and not alone in this one. A lot of moms deal with this very thing. Martha, first of all, is isolation the right kind of treatment?
No, it is not. What is happening when your child is out of control? Your child is completely out of touch with you. And to isolate that child in a room is to further that being out of contact. What they need is contact, and they need somebody else to help them get into control. So if you're going to send your child to your room, go with them.
And hold them. That's what you say.
Yes, go with
hold
them. Don't isolate a child.
What if a child kicks?
Then you grab them and hold them. If every time a child misbehaves, you grab them and do a holding, you won't have any of that behavior anymore.
How about in public? She brings up a good point. In the grocery store, anywhere.
When she's going to the grocery store, she should hold before she goes. and let the child get rid of all the upset that she has and calm down and really be in good contact, and then go to the grocery store. But even I have done holding in a store. My son is very well behaved because I do regular holding time. But one time he was making a fuss about not buying something. In fact, this is the only time in his life he ever made a fuss in a store. And I sat down and I held him, and I thought people were going to really think I was doing something strange or even abusive. Nobody even said anything. They just looked as though this was the most normal thing in the world.
Well,
I held him. He calmed
Sure.
down.
How could you look at a mother who's holding her child and taking time to try to calm them down as abusive? I think conversely, we look at mothers who whack their kids in the middle of the store and further get the temper tantrum even going and really firing it as more abusive than what you were doing.
Well,
don't you think?
It must be. Once I was in the park with a friend who was doing it to her daughter who was having a tantrum, and a policeman was coming along, and I was so embarrassed that I moved away from them. And when the policeman came, I said, "Strange, isn't it?" He said, "Looks very loving to me."
Your own technique,
Right,
and you were embarrassed.
Isn't that
All
terrible?
right.
I was so ashamed of myself.
Let's take another call. Good morning. You're on Good Day.
Hello, Eileen?
Yes.
Hi, this is Shirley from Billerica.
How you doing, Shirley?
Good. I think you kind of answered my question already, but anyways, I'll say I have a 9-year-old that is 100 pounds, and tell me how you hold a fighting, angry child that's that big and that strong.
We didn't answer that, Shirley. That's a good question.
She's an armful.
Yep, that's right. How do you do that?
That is a good question. We've found the most remarkable thing. Children don't use all their strength to fight their mothers. They really want the holding. And afterwards they tell us this, and often children even ask for it. They might be fighting with their arms and their legs will be completely limp. But even if they get away, they taunt the mother to come after them. There was one 15-year-old who wanted holding, and then in the middle got up and ran and locked himself in the bathroom. The mother sat outside the door until he came out, and then they did the rest of their holding.
That's really neat,
Yeah.
isn't it? Really. You say, too, that if you're going through any kind of depression as a mother, your child will feel it, and holding is a good way to counter it.
Yes. What's the worst thing that happens with depression? The mother is removed from everybody. She isolates herself in her depression, and the child loses some mothering. But if she will keep doing the holding, then at least during the holding time, she's delivering mothering, and the child feels like he can reach the mother. And the mother feels good about herself then because the child feels good, and you get an upward spiral.
Is there ever a time it's too late to start?
I don't think so.
Every child, it's basic to all of us as humans. We all want it, don't we? So is it all right to start even with a 5 or 6-year-old?
How about a 10 or a
10 or
15-year-old?
15-year-old, okay.
When we first had our mothering center, which was a drop-in center for any family, mothers brought even 20-year-olds, and I was very surprised. I didn't think a 20-year-old would even be willing to come, but they did holding, and miraculous things happened.
You know, I think sometimes other countries and other societies have a better little deal than we do, because in some societies, mothers are there for their children all the time. They even sleep together. A child wakes up and a mother's always there for the child. In this country, we really separate each other, don't we?
Yes, and that's why holding time is so important to all families, because if we're going to keep up our difficult lifestyle, we have to make some adjustment for it, and holding time is that adjustment.
It's just a great idea, Martha, for good quality time.